My guest at this time is featured as the narrator in the upcoming documentary, The Flying Greek, about wrestling innovator Mike Pappas. It is WWE Hall of Famer Madusa. Madusa, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Oh my goodness. Finally, here we are between my schedule and yours. I just thank you for taking the time and wanting to do this interview. The main reason of the interview is, of course, about the documentary, the movie, Mike, the Flying Greek Pappas. Such an amazing man, such a great story. And I believe that you got to see a little bit of it. Is that correct?
Just a little taste. Like, I really just got the press release for it. But I mean, I'm pretty familiar with Mike Pappas now after doing a bunch of research to get ready for this interview now. I mean, what an interesting character this guy is.
Yes, he is. Yes. He was the like, I would say the original, like a innovator of the high flyer back when it wasn't really a lot of high flying,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And he worked all over back then, like NWA, WWF,
Right.
and that's when they traveled around with the belts and stuff like in old territories.
Yeah, 100%. And so how familiar were you with Mike before the documentary? Were you a huge fan? Was this something you approached with and kind of fell down the rabbit hole? Like, what was your familiarity here before the documentary?
Well, I didn't know the extent of his career. And when it was brought to my attention with Jason, he's the director. Film has always been one of my hidden pleasures. I've always loved film. I always wanted to be an actress. And, I dabbled in movies myself before it was cool to have wrestlers do movies. I was just way ahead of my time.
Sure.
And so I've always had a hidden pleasure. And then I really loved the behind the scenes and wanting to do more. But my career as far as a pro wrestler or a monster truck driver, and has always taken precedence. It's always been the forefront of what I did. And so that has always been on the back burner. So when I ran into Jason, I met Jason through Leilani Kai. And what a dear, what a wonderful woman she is. She deserves so much more than she receives as well in this business.
Sure.
She introduced me to Jason, and he's a rising writer and with so much ambition, and what a headspace he has, like so many ideas and all this creativity. His mind is explosive. He's so good. And so he approached and we started talking about my own documentary. And when doing so, he was doing or just starting, or it was right in the infancy of it, of Flying Greek. And he goes, you would be perfect for this. Would you want to be a narrator or would you want to be a part? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what an honor. Hell yeah. And so just vaguely knowing of him, diving into the project really expanded me to everything about this man. And this man has been all over, like, from Australia to Japan to, if you know the story,
Sure,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
And his family, and I love his whole meaning of, his family comes first, right? And
Right.
he worked for his family and he loved what he did, but he knew it was, it was tearing him apart, and he knew he had to do something. And, he became a successful jeweler, and what an incredible story.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
no, so and I love the whole thing. WWE has a lot of footage on him. We tried contacting them, even myself, trying, even with a few people I may know in there, and not a darn thing. Just a little bit of, but hey, when they own something, they own something. They don't want to give it up, and I understand that.
Oh man.
But yeah, so he's got some great stuff with him and Andre the Giant.
Oh man. See, it kills you to know that all that stuff is there and you can't touch it and play with it, right? I mean, they've got a lot of meaningful content, a lot of fans clamoring for some of the documentaries they've put together that they haven't released for one reason or another as of late.
I don't know what it is or what's up, but a lot of people have their speculations on what's going on. But WWE will always be the powerhouse that it was, is, and always will be. No matter what they're doing, no matter if they are going to stay together at a company or if they're going to sell it off or partially or whatever their deal is, whatever the rumors are, right?
Yeah.
It is a powerhouse of a company, and they have so many wonderful things. I hope they still engage in some of the things that they were doing, with the history, the documentaries.
Sure.
They were doing all those shows, and it's like they're not even doing them anymore.
I know.
They have such a library. It's incredible. And some of these territories, like NWA, like I think Lawler owns some, Jarrett owns some of the footage. You had some of these people that just kind of, was it Robinson? Wasn't he the official owner back in the day? Was it Billy Robinson, wasn't it?
That might be right. Sure.
Huh?
I said that could be right. That sounds right. Let's say that's right. Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know. I hate to assume because there's always a critic out there that'll, they're always like, "Oh my God, Madusa's lying." Or as Eric Bischoff says, "Madusa's delusional," or whatever. Because he thinks I'm lying about the title trashing thing. So anyway,
fair
I
enough.
had to go there.
Fair enough. Yeah, there's a lot of documentaries going around right now. This is obviously really positive, and just kind of back to the Flying Greek real quick. You brought up the jewelry stuff. What a great message and signal to a lot of wrestlers even today. How he was able to pivot out of the business and find success and be there for his family and everything. It's really unique, especially for a guy of that era to be able to do that so gracefully. We don't have enough stories from that era of guys that were able to do that,
No, especially that era. Correct. You are correct on that. It's a film. It's just about overcoming the odds and leaving a legacy. That he didn't realize how much of a legacy he left. And so it's very emotional for him in this film. It makes me just tear up right now. It's just amazing. Like, I connected with him. So this story I connected with so well. And it became a part of my baby as well. You know what I mean? That just the love for the film and all the hard work and everything, because I related to not understanding what kind of legacy that I may be leaving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that happened to me when I went into the Hall of Fame, because I was scared shitless. Like, I was just scared going back into the business. That was my first time, and I didn't know what to expect. I was so indoctrinated of like the old school and just, the misogynist and the hard ways and the antics and the hard life, it was a struggle. I was good to wrestling. Wrestling wasn't good to me, period. And, so I related to exactly how he was feeling, and the emotion in this documentary is something else. I wish you could experience it and, be there December 10th, but, it's going to be fantastic. It's amazing. We set it up with, we're having a VIP, and they get to meet Manoli, and they get the red carpet treatment, and they get like free posters and a signature. And so it's a real intimate, wonderful experience.
Yeah. And, I love how you feel like you can relate to not really like how you didn't understand his legacy, because the past few years have been, I'm sure, great for you in the sense that you've got to be backstage at WWE, AEW, now NWA. You've got to meet a lot of the women of this generation. How is it for you kind of coming to terms with your own legacy and meeting all these women, I'm sure, that are coming up to you and telling you, what you did for them to kind of help them become what they are now?
Yeah. So that's what I was getting to, when I went back in 2015 and WWE Hall of Fame, that I didn't expect any of that. I just thought, I did not expect any of it. And when I got there, they were so cordial and so nice and so giving. And the girls were so professional and loving. And it was a 180. I was breaking down inside without breaking down on the outside. because just the whole 180 turn of what I experienced was I was just looking at these women thinking, I am so glad you did not have to go through what I did. You know what I mean? And just to see this and the opportunity and everything just made me feel like I did my job. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can understand that, but I don't, you know how, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I certainly don't I can't relate from what it is to be a strong female leader in that regard, but I can understand what it means to kind of leave the space better than when you found it. And it sounds like that's a bit of what you're talking about right now.
Yes. And it's such a great feeling knowing that, you know, you see things better and not the same or worse. And that to me is a tale that just a strong point that I did my job by everything that I did. If it was controversial, if it was winning a championship, if it was a loud voice, or whatever means or whatever I stood for was right. Everything I did may not have been right to other people, but it was right to me and what I felt I needed to do. Mm-hmm. And very few will understand that. The ones that will understand that are the ones that had to fight, you know, and make it a better situation for themselves. And I always said that if it's unethical, immoral, or illegal, don't do it. Right?
Right.
So, yeah. And to me, I was, you know, fighting for something greater, fighting for equality, fighting for, you know, wanting to be heard, to be seen, wanting a better platform, you know, wanted everything that the men had, you know, because damn it, I was a pro wrestler. And so to get back to the, you know, the main topic is, yes, it was great to see the women where they were at because I did my job. And so back to Manoli is exactly that. It's an amazing film of him overcoming all the odds and leaving a legacy that he didn't realize. And his journey is just that. I mean, from jewelry designer to boxing to wrestling and then back to jewelry, that's incredible.
Yeah, I did kind of laugh a little bit when I read that he learned how to do the jewelry stuff as a kid, lived this crazy life, and at the end he was like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna go back to doing that stuff I learned to do in Greece. I'm just gonna be a jeweler now, you know, full circle
but
kind of stuff.
That's how it goes almost, you know. It really does. It's like, you know, when I was going through wrestling, it was very scary and uncertain time back then as a woman. You know, I was the breadwinner. I had mouths to feed, but I wasn't looked at that. I was looked as an enhanced product and really they didn't give a crap. And I was just shoved to the side or whatever, right? And got paid less.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we don't have to go down that road, but yeah, it was just, yeah. It's a whole nother subject.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of interested, you know, like what was it like for you, you know, go back to the Hall of Fame, reuniting with Vince McMahon? Like, how was it kind of getting over that bridge? Because obviously, you know, there was years of bad blood there. What was it like for you to kind of reunite with him and formally get back in the mix there?
Again, as I said, I was scared shitless, actually, and I didn't know what to expect. And I haven't seen Vince over 20 years, whatever. So it was like I didn't know what to expect. But the initial coming in, meeting everybody, seeing everyone, doing everything but Vince, and then that initial, you know, hello to Vince was just overwhelmingly wonderful. Yeah. He was so kind and nice. And I don't know, you know, hopefully it wasn't a work, but in this business, you don't know. But, you know, I would hope not. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've always heard I even said in the past, I've always been a Vince girl. I mean, I was the kid that they could count on. I'd always show up, was never late to my gigs. I always passed my piss test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wasn't that abuser out there. It was just, you know, it was just one of those freak things that he wanted to change it up and got rid of the women. So, but there's a lot of things that go with that. It's in my biography, by the way, and it comes out the spring of 2023.
Yeah.
So all the stories are in there. Yeah, they're amazing. It's not a tattletale book. Everyone thinks it's a tattletale book, but it's not. It's has nothing to do with you or them, or it's not about you or them. It's about me. It's my life. There's experiences in there. There are adversities. There's tragedies to triumph. There are remarkable motivational stories. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll piss you off. And then at the end, you'll be fist pumping the air. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I was going to ask you about the book. I knew it was coming out. Well, that sounds great. And so, do you still keep up with the WWE product? Do you still watch what's going on with the women's division at the moment?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, I watch it. Like, I don't sit there every single time, but I think you can watch a whole program just looking at Twitter's gifs.
It's true. It's true. Well, what do
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you string them all together. It's pretty much the whole show.
You kind of know the whole show.
Yeah, exactly. But what do you think about, you mentioned Vince's interest in women's wrestling has kind of ebbed and flowed here over the years. What do you think about where we're at right now with the women's division in WWE?
I think it's spectacular. It circles back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
We are where we're at because everybody before that did their job. Every era is an evolution. Every era is a revolution. Every era is a learning situation. Either you liked it or you didn't, or it was good or it wasn't. But it brought us to this point, and it's still going to elevate. It needs to. It needs to elevate or change, or the product's just going to sink. Yeah. So whatever direction it's going, whatever the next big idea is, I'm sure they'll capitalize it in a way that they need to, and they'll systematically educate the people to what they believe or think that they need to like, and they will transition people and program them to what they want. Isn't that how it goes?
Wow, it sounds like robotics, right? I mean, it sounds like you're creating little pro wrestling robots to go out. I
mean, think about it. It's just like, I don't know. Maybe it ain't just women that are birthing babies anymore. Crap, they got human pods for that in the future, I'm sure. So why not robotic? Why not robotic freaking wrestlers?
Okay, sure, fair enough. Hey, if Vince could make $1 on it, I'm pretty sure we'd see the Fox robot in there, throwing down on SmackDown.
Yes. Well, you know why we'll see the Fox robot, right?
Yeah.
You know why?
Why is that?
Did you say Fox?
Yeah.
Fox robot?
Yeah, Fox robot.
Okay,
yeah.
Good. I heard you right. Okay. Because I know that's already happening. It's already out there. We've had that for 10 years in Monster Jam. So when we drove monster trucks, we do our gig, we do racing first, and then there was intermission. And for about 20 minutes, there's intermission. And then usually we had the motocross guys do the backflips or whatever. And then we had this robot. It was about as big as an auditorium. It was huge. I don't know if you've ever seen anything like this, but it was like, it started in a car, like shape of a car, and then it robotically came out, kind of like in the movies, and then it got really tall, and then it started eating metal cars. So
wow.
There are robots. There could be a Fox robot wrestler, yes.
Sure, yeah. It sounds like you're describing a Truckosaurus, which is incredible. And as a child who grew up in Houston and is familiar with monster trucks and pro wrestling, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about, yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of, there's so many different names for them, but yes.
No, I got it.
And it blows fire sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and call that a Truckosaurus. If it's breathing fire and eating cars, it's a Truckosaurus to me. So
something like that, yes.
So with as well as
sure, but overall, women's wrestling I think is great. Today's women's wrestling is exactly my style back in my day, and this is my style. This is what I fought for back then. But I was so ahead of my time. People were like, "Oh my God, what is this?" Right?
Sure.
So I mean, it is what it is. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy with the women.
Do you feel you've got one more big bout in you, Madusa, or no?
Well, I mean, we would all love to say yes, but here's my theory on that too. We have men in their 60s out there signing contracts, still making money, making debuts once every quarter. Why can't a legend woman? Why? We haven't changed. So here's the criteria. Every guy or man, not every, but men would like to say that, oh, women's wrestling is better. It's gotten better. They're getting paid. They're just as equal now. There's intergender wrestling. There's this, but no, it's still not. It still hasn't changed. We have one or two women that are making $1 million and the rest aren't. When you got more than hands and hands and hands and handfuls of men making it. Okay, there's the number one problem. Number two, when we get a certain age, women all of a sudden just became ugly. But men, bless their heart, they seem to get better looking, right? That's what the society says anyway. But women, people feel that when women get older, we don't need to be seen. We're getting older, we don't look good, or whatever the case is. So we don't belong. This is a younger sport. This is a younger person's job. And that's the mentality, except for it's okay for men to still have those legends work. So our system is still busted.
So
it's not.
So if Tony Khan came to you and was like, you want to do 2 years? You want to go on a run? You feel like you could step up and jump in there and hang for a contract?
Vince McMahon, Tony Khan, Billy Corgan, and who's the dude at Impact?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, me either. Whoever that is. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't wrestle every day. You give me a schedule like Sting or Goldberg or Brock, I think I will. I think I deserve a schedule like that. I'm only as good. I'm only as good as myself, the promoter, the marketing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm only as good as what everybody puts in as well, but I have to deliver it. So it's a team effort.
Yep.
So who has the balls to do that with a woman legend?
It's a good question.
Of my era. I'm talking about my era. Yep. We always go for the women from the Attitude Era forward. I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Trish Stratus, teasing the match with Sasha Banks. Lita is kind of always in the wings. I'm very.
Yeah. It's always nothing against those two because I absolutely adore them. Let's just get that straight. It's not them personally. It's just that's the way where the mentality is. It's I'd say Attitude Era, not just those two, but those two are used the most. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And there have been reports recently. WWE looking to only hire men under 30, women under 25. It's a 5-year difference there with that too from WWE. It sounds like at the moment. So yeah, obviously a lot of what you're saying. There's obviously stuff to back it up right now out in the marketplace.
Yeah. So, and Beth just stepped down. Her last day was this Monday or whatever. So, maybe there's a big shift happening. Who knows?
Who just stepped down? I'm sorry, you dropped out there for a second.
Yeah, Beth just
Beth.
Quit.
I thought you said Steph. I was like, wait, what? What did I miss? Yes, Beth Phoenix. Yeah. Well, Beth is leaving NXT commentary, but I have a hunch that she could wind up alongside her husband Edge in a feud against Miz and Maurice. She might be transitioning back into the ring, I think is what's happening here.
See? And again, you have that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get couples like that, and I think it's fantastic. But hell, I'm not getting any younger. If you guys are going to do something, let's do something.
Yeah, and so
you guys have done it.
Who are some of the women you want to work with right now, Madusa? Who catches your eye? Is there a couple off the top of your head that you'd like to step in there and try to work with?
Well, respect to all of them, absolutely. But my honest thought would be, I definitely would want to have an angle with somebody that could carry the match. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I need somebody that could carry the match. I need somebody that could lead. I need somebody that could take care of my body, right? Sure. So, and with all of that comes trust. And that's a heavy responsibility. So, if I'm in the ring and I fall down, bump my head, and I can't remember what the next move is, I want to make sure that this person is able to carry out the rest of the match, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. So there's several people out there I feel that could do that I would feel very comfortable doing that with.
Okay. All right.
So you never know.
All right, fair enough. All right, our last question here, Madusa, before we let you go, and we'll do the hard plug for the Flying Greek one more time. We got to ask the Mount Rushmore question a lot, but you're obviously legendary, prolific, Hall of Famer, Madusa Alundra Blaze. In your opinion, if it's just women, who's your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? Do you have 4 that you would put up there?
I mean, well, that's such a hard question. I mean, it's so unfair. I don't know. You'd have to take one from every generation, and there's more than 4 generations, I just I just can't.
That's fine. It's a dumb question. You don't need to answer it.
It's not a dumb question. It's not a dumb question.
It's a silly question, I guess.
It's a redundant question, but it's not dumb.
Okay.
It's
okay.
I just don't. Yeah, I can't go there, man.
Okay.
I just can't.
Hey, that's fine.
All of them.
You give me more than enough, Madusa. Hey, I want to thank you so much. And like you said, December 10th, the movie's officially debuting. I believe it's debuting in Springfield, Missouri, correct?
It's in Springfield, Missouri. Yes, sir. Okay. And you guys, if you can't go and you just want to, help out or just buy a general ticket, that's cool too. That helps for the film. Do you have all that information? Did he give it to you?
He did. I have Jason's email here. We'll make sure to put all the hard info about where you guys can get tickets to go check out the
link,
the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That would be appreciative. And I thank you so much for your time. And sorry for the, running around and trying to do the interview and stuff. So I appreciate you, and thank you for making this a great interview for the Flying Greek and Mike Pappas. He'll absolutely adore it.